Spain. There are a couple of places, though, up for grabs in the favoured starting 11. A beautiful evening at the home of Villarreal, this chocolate box stadium. Temperatures around 70 degrees as the players condition themselves for the World Cup finals. As always, before the big matches, we will have the national anthems.
Sonará el himno nacional de España.
On the minds concentrated of the Spain players. You may be wondering why they don't sing the national anthem. The reason is there are officially no words of the Spain national anthem. But it's one you're going to be hearing over the next few weeks. Coming back from Russia, Spain preparing for the opening game against Portugal in Sochi. Switzerland have a tough opener against Brazil in Rostov. And in the world rankings at the moment, Switzerland are actually 2 places ahead of Spain. They're rated as the 6th best team. Spain are the 8th best team. Well, it is an experimental lineup tonight because there are no players from the Real Madrid team that took part in the Champions League final last week. And also Sergio Busquets has reported with gastroenteritis in the build-up to the game. So Iago Aspas and Costa are going to be fighting amongst themselves for the one striking place. And there's a call into the 11 for Álvaro Odriozola, only his 3rd cap, as Dani Carvajal is still a doubt, and there is a right-back position up for grabs. It is the long farewell for Andrés Iniesta, emotional last week at the Camp Nou, as he said goodbye to Barcelona. He's heading to Japanese football, but he's got at least 5 games left in him. Well, as for Switzerland, they have named a 26-man squad. They have to jettison 3 players tomorrow. There is a doubt over Granit Xhaka of Arsenal for the World Cup. He misses tonight as he recovers from an injury, but he's a very, very strong team. And there's a great togetherness. It's a side really without stars, but a team which won 9 of their 10 qualifying games. Xherdan Shaqiri of Stoke City to get 5 assists in the road to the World Cup finals. Well, in theory, it's a big test for Spain, but we thought that when they played their last game against Argentina, and that was a rather one-sided affair. Switzerland also had a big success in their last game. They beat Panama by 6-0. Well, it's Spain who kick off as they say farewell to the Spanish supporters, hoping to come back with silverware, the team is replenished after the Euros. I felt the players were getting a little old together. The only real veteran, of course, in the team is the leader, Andrés Iniesta. And under Lopetegui, they have yet to taste defeat. 18 games in charge, 13 wins. Hasn't yet lost a match.
It's going to be interesting, Rob, to see how Spain line up. I don't imagine for 1 minute that they're going to start the game against Portugal with two centre forwards in the lineup. So tonight, seeing Aspas and Diego Costa, it's going to be interesting to see where Aspas is going to play in this system.
There was a lot of discussion amongst our Spanish compatriots whether they're going to play with Costa ahead of a three-man support, or whether it's going to be a 4-3-3 formation, which has been favoured by Spain and, of course, Barcelona over the years as well. They have won titles without playing a recognised centre-forward, of course. Ramos, who's without his regular partner, sorry, I should say Piqué without his regular partner, Sergio Ramos this evening. Piliqueta. There is David Silva. First Spain attack. Costa gets out of the way. Koke's there. Switzerland being stretched. Oh, and a tremendous save from Yann Sommer. They're starting where they left off against Argentina.
Well, it's outstanding build-up. It's a long diagonal pass from Gerard Piqué that sets the attack off in motion, and then scintillating attacking play in terms of quickness of movement, passing. A couple of attempts on goal.
There is David Silva to Andrés Iniesta. Thiago, who has played the last two games in the central midfield position, and he is actually charging Busquets for that pivotal role. With Piliqueta, who can play anywhere across the back four, and that might be useful if Dani Carvajal doesn't fully recover after his knock against Liverpool in Kiev last week. Odriozola to Piqué. Missing out the midfield, using Odriozola. The referee not buying the fall of Iago Aspas. With Piliqueta to Andrés Iniesta. Now Costa. Playing for his place, overlapping is Silva. Costa. Excellent tackle by Sᴡɪᴛᴢᴇrʟᴜ. Well, Switzerland are a quietly efficient team. They scored 23 goals in the qualifiers. They conceded only 7. As Northern Ireland found out, they are very well drilled and organised, beating Northern Ireland by a single goal in the first leg. A penalty at that, of course, controversially, from Ricardo Rodriguez.
They certainly had an outstanding qualifying group stage, didn't they? Won 9 games, just lost 1 against Portugal, who had an identical record. They beat each other, of course, and Portugal going through top in the group in terms of goal difference. It's a tough opening game for Switzerland to face Brazil in the opening game. It's a tough group against Serbia and Costa Rica as well. So it's important they're well prepared, and I think they definitely do need Granit Xhaka back in midfield. That would be a huge blow if he's not available and fit for the early stages, at the very least, of the group matches.
Iniesta firing the ball in the direction of Aspas. This is Costa. Ball sticking at the feet of Diego Costa, who should be the freshest player out there, of course. He's only played half a season as he set out the opening months after his dispute with Chelsea. It's supposed to be a friendly game, but Costa's all fired up, and Lopetegui reminding him of his responsibilities.
Well, they've mixed it up well so far, haven't they? They've at times gone long from back to front. Of course, we know their ability in terms of quickness of passing and movement off the ball, and led to a couple of attempts at goal there.
David De Gea strolling off his line. PK to Thiago. Well, they've all tried a trick in the opening 5.5 minutes of the game, the Spain midfield players. Lopetegui has them excellently organised, but he does give them that freedom to be creative.
He's got no choice when you've got Iniesta and David Silva. They have to be creative, and of course it's good management to allow the creative side to flow through and then work really hard defensively.
There's David Silva. Slightly panicked attempt at the clearance from Akanji.
They appear to have that hunger back, Rob, in terms of winning the ball back quickly, which was a trait of the successful Spain national team. Won the World Cup and 2 European Championships. It was a real strength for the team. As they aged, it became more difficult for those players to continue to play that style of game. But what we saw in the qualifying groups and what we've seen in the friendlies recently is they appear to have that hunger, motivation and the ability to be able to win that ball back as quickly as possible.
Odriozola to Costa. Fired towards Aspas, chasing it, but strolling off his line is Jan Sommer, the Borussia Mönchengladbach goalkeeper. Here's Lichtsteiner, Forrest Gump they call him because he never stops running. That's offside. Brilliant save anyway by De Gea. Ivanovic had gone just a fraction early.
He didn't need to. He's looking across the line there. He's got no idea where Piqué is in terms of whether he's ahead of Gerard Piqué. Lichtsteiner will do that. It's a strength of his game.
Well, Spain have been preparing this week at the FA headquarters in Madrid. It was all very exacting. They've been drilled as well into VAR and the idiosyncrasies by Mathieu Lahoz, one of the top officials in Spain. Shaqiri. It's a usual Spain national team game, dominating most of the possession, and Switzerland knew that was going to be the case. Of course, when these two countries met at the World Cup in 2010, it was a surprise defeat for Spain. Gerard Piqué is one of the players who remains from that game. Jordi Alba to David Silva. Well, back from Shah to Sommer, taking no risks. And we saw what happened to one of his union members at the Olympic Stadium last weekend in Kiev.
It does appear to be a 4-3-3, doesn't it? I say a loose 4-3-3. Aspas playing down the right flank. David Silva is the highest of the attacking midfield players. Pretty much on the left of Diego Costa, then midfield trio, Koke, Thiago and Iniesta.
The thing about it, with the pure players, it's interchangeable as well.
Exactly. Silva and Iniesta have been swapping positions, and Aspas is being encouraged to go and play slightly infield. Likewise, David Silva, and that will allow both fullbacks to push on, which is what they're both really good at. Odriozola, the youngster, in the right-back position, Jordi Alba, of course, on the left-back, so they give the attacking width.
Where is Odriozola, who's the one shock inclusion in the 23-man squad? There are a few eyebrows raised at the omissions, but he was the only player, I think, nobody expected to be making the plane. It's a very large bench tonight. They've got three players, Vallejo, Rodri and Yeray, who are currently on the standby list. They've packed the training sessions with some of the younger players, the Spain players of the future. Likes of ✰ and Iñaki Williams have joined the training as well this week, just to give them a taste of the national team call-up. And there has been a flow, of course, from the youth teams to the under-21 teams to the senior team. Lopetegui, the coach, won the Euros in 2012 for the under-19s. And is in charge of the under-21s and the under-20s. And will be in charge of the senior team now to the year 2020, having just signed a new longer-term contract. So Vladimir Petrovic in the opposite corner, who's done a remarkable job since replacing Otmar Hitzfeld. Silva. Koke. It's an excellent run from Iago Aspas, who squeezes a corner out of Akanji.
Yeah, I think the midfield players of Switzerland need some help. The likes of Berrami, Zakaria and Gemelli getting outnumbered by the Spanish counterparts in terms of possession as well. It's making it really hard. So need some help from Shaqiri and Zuba.
Oh, brilliant play between Silva and Iniesta. Back to Silva. They still won't go away. We know that Iniesta is heading for his autumn years in the J-League in Japan, but he has still been sensational in the colours of Barcelona this season, and of course for the Spain national team as well.
That's Piliqueta, who's trying to win the ball back quickly against Seferovic, and I think it was a foul and a challenge from behind, but he doesn't agree with me or agree with the referee, clearly.
Piliqueta was a regular, only missed one game for Chelsea this season. I suppose you could say he suffered more than most at Stamford Bridge. Winning the cup final, but missing out on the Champions League next season. Given there are no Real Madrid players starting tonight, there's only Lucas Vázquez on the bench. The Spain side tonight, the 11, is drawn from 8 different teams in 3 different leagues. Here's Jordi Alba of Barcelona. Iniesta. Silva. Everything still goes through Iniesta, the central cog. Little layoff from Costa, which wasn't the best. Falls nicely to Iniesta. Good across and well towed away nervously by Rodriguez. Koke and tried to thread it to the lively Aspas.
Switzerland find it really difficult to defend and then difficult to keep hold of the ball. It's only against Piliqueta who's given away a couple of fouls, but it shows the endeavour there that Spain are showing to win the ball back quickly again. It's a clear foul from Piliqueta on Gemelli.
There's a couple already, isn't it, by Piliqueta, who isn't looking completely comfortable in the central role alongside PK.
I think they're encouraged, aren't they, to go in, to push in as well. So when their team's got possession, they're very high up the pitch. They're in the attacking half. So when the ball does break out from Switzerland, if it isn't a great pass, I think the Spain central defenders are encouraged to try and win the ball back, even high up the pitch.
There is Ricardo Rodriguez. That's a good run from deep. And well, just towed away nervously by Thiago. He was doing a good job as the holding midfield man. Jordi Alba has landed heavily.
Of course, this is the biggest fear, isn't it, of all the international managers going into these preparation games for the World Cup. It almost falls kindly for Xherdan Shaqiri there on the edge of the box. Hefty collision, but Jordi Alba appears to be okay.
And the two players are Kanji and Fabian Sharp. And the danger men here, the two tall central defenders. Seferovic as well. Smallest man on the field heads the ball away, David Silva. Lichtsteiner to Rodriguez. Rodriguez puts his might in, and De Gea wisely just sticks to his line. Ricardo Rodriguez could be playing for Spain if he wanted to. He was born in Zurich. His mum is Chilean, and his father is actually Spanish. But made a wise choice to play for Switzerland. It's his 52nd cap tonight, and he was the national hero after his penalty winner against Northern Ireland. Costa. Jordi Alba's having a ratty game on that left-hand side, isn't he?
Yeah, of course, he doesn't have that advantage of having Lionel Messi playing in midfield and looking up and spraying the ball out to that position, but he'll take up identical positions, an identical role. And of course, he will be hoping the likes of Iniesta and Silva in particular, Koke, will be able to find him with that switcher play.
Zakaria. It's a very loose ball. Lichtsteiner's not going to retrieve that. The captain being positive, trying to raise the game of those around him. Lichtsteiner's 99th cap tonight. Should get the 100 against Japan next week when they play their final game before heading to Russia. That's going to be in Lugano. Jordi Alba.
It's Berami, isn't it? It's time with the tap on the ankles of Jordi Alba.
David Silva takes his time. They had to maybe come up with something inventive. You can see those the players line up. That there's only Piqué, who is of a similar height to the several tall players in the Switzerland team. So it's low and hard, and it was Aspas who broke from the pack.
They are still willing, aren't they, to get the ball into the box direct from a set piece. Of course, no Sergio Ramos tonight, but he's always an asset when it comes to attacking free kicks and corners.
I suppose with Busquets as well, he's another one of the 6-foot players.
Costa is in there with Piqué tonight, isn't he, as well? So, but you're right, it's not a team that's built for. I would imagine they've spent too much time on concentrating on attacking set pieces. And I think at times they do prefer to take the short corner, quick free kicks in general.
Steiner to Shaqiri. He's trying to make things work. It's a great dart down the left-hand side from Rodriguez. And tidying up is Alvaro Odriozola, who knows the scrutiny is on him tonight with the Carvajal injury. One of the great surprise non-inclusions was that of Sergio Roberto, who's been excellent for Barcelona this season in the right-back position, but clearly is not to the full liking of Lopetegui.
It must be a concern regarding Dani Carvajal, because he only just got back fit, didn't he, in time for the Champions League final. He got injured again. Something that Lopetegui is clearly concerned about. Odriozola getting his chance tonight, but I agree with you. I think Sergio Roberto would be a versatile player to have in the squad. He's become a right back for Barcelona, but still a really good midfield player as well.
He does tend to try to promote players that he's had at the under-21 level, which worked with Rodrigo Moreno, who was a frequent scorer for the 21s, and he's jostling for the striker's position with Costa and Iago Aspas. And of course, Odriozola is another young player, only 22. Played at the Euros last year in the under-21 tournament.
I think the name that's been most prominent about replacing Carvajal, if he does miss it, is Mark Bartra of Real Betis.
Costa lays the ball down, or flashed across the face of goal. From David Silva, they're getting warmer.
Well, that's better from Diego Costa. That's what he has to provide, a focal point for the attack. Let the more skillful, more diminutive players around him be creative, and he's there to lend a hand. He does it really well there with a little knockdown to David Silva. Just drags his shot across the far post away from ⴰ
It's old school centre forward play, that, wasn't it?
That's what I need. He doesn't need to get involved in the build-up. He's got enough players to do that. But he needs to be there as that focal point, the physical presence. Take the weight off of players like David Silva and Iago Aspas and Iniesta.
Well, it's a wonderful atmosphere created as they have brought the national team to Castellón, home of Villarreal. First time they had an international here was 20 years ago. And Spain won that night by 9-0 against San Marino. Berami. Two of the greater characters in the two teams go shoulder to shoulder there.
I think Costa just knocks him over. Here he knocks the ball down, doesn't he, to David Silva. Always curling away from the goalkeeper, always curling away from the far post, but good movement off the ball from David Silva.
Kanji to Fabian Schär. Schär plays his football in Spain. Well, if we see Xavi's 4-year contract to Deportivo La Coruña, next season at least he's going to be in the Segunda after Depor were relegated. Piqué. Pilicueta. It's a lazy ball by Berami. Rodriguez. Berami again. Looking for Zakaria. Shaqiri quickens the pace. They haven't given up the chase though. Lichtsteiner, the skipper, flying down that right-hand side, hangs it in the air. Poor header from Piqué. And luckily for Spain, it's a poor shot from sᴘᴜ.
I think he chooses the correct technique in terms of keeping the ball down, gets his head over the ball and whacks it into the ground. It'll be flick on from Gerard Piqué. David De Gea, I think, always aware that on the bounce it was going to go over the crossbar. When Switzerland break through that initial closing down session that we see from Spain, if they can break through that initial press, then they'll find a little bit of space to take advantage of and getting some early crosses into the penalty area.
Costa. Iniesta. Odriozola. Iago Aspas. Iniesta. Alba. Silva. A strong challenge from Costa. He was billed as an international match and not a friendly game. He doesn't play friendly games, does he?
Well, that is his job as well, Rob. He's the first line of defences, and if they want to have this attitude where they win the ball quickly, we see Jamali really attempts into the ground over the crossbar. Plenty of space for him, wasn't it, for the attacking midfield player? Unopposed at the far post.
Piqué, with ever available Andres Iniesta to David Silva. Thiago to Koke. Jordi Alba. Koke. Odriozola. Aspas. No, he favours it on his left foot. There he goes. To Iniesta. Oh, look look at this from freedom. I'm not sure he quite meant that, Iniesta. Touch of the message about that. Jordi Alba fires it at David Silva. Anywhere will do for Fabian Schär as Spain are increasing the heat.
You've got to have a first touch, haven't you? If you're playing for Spain, the way that Jordi Alba fires that into David Silva, the way the passes are moved about quickly with real pace, sufficient enough that defenders can't cut out those passes.
Oh, this is freestyling football from Spain. Koke. Switzerland is struggling to get out of their final third of the field at the moment. Shaqiri. Lichtsteiner. Well, it's a warm, humid evening in Castellón, but it's almost 100% humidity now as it begins to rain inside the stadium, which will make the ball zip around that a little bit sharper. Seferovic. Excellent defending by Jordi Alba. Stylish defending by Jordi Alba.
But his pace comes in handy there, doesn't it? When there was a quick attack from Switzerland, he was able to get across with excellent defensive work on the cover.
Koke. Aspas. Silva. Short and sharp with Iniesta. Back to David Silva. A suggestion of handball as Lichtsteiner went to ground. Shaqiri. Rodriguez. It's almost as if Switzerland can afford to breathe again.
I was rather surprised on that build-up there with Silva and Iniesta that Costa goes out to try and join in. Eventually, when they did have the chance to slide the ball across goal, he was not in the appropriate position. Just to reiterate, I think he can avoid getting involved in the build-up on too many occasions. Just needs to apply the finishing touch.
PK happy to just guide it out of play.
You see the cut back, a half-hearted appeal. You can see the position of Diego Costa, who's gone completely out the goal-scoring position. The ball does strike the arm of the Swiss defender, but certainly not intentional.
Well, Costa came back to La Liga and he had an immediate impact scoring for Atletico Madrid and of course getting sent off for celebrating scoring for Atletico Madrid. But he's having to win his stripes with Spain. Odriozola is looking for Costa. Finds David Silva. Lichtsteiner. Silva hooks it in. Odriozola! Well, the youngster, who was a little uncertain of his place in the national team, may well have earned his place in the starting 11 with a sensational goal like that, and only his third cap.
And I talked about Costa getting into a goal-scoring position. This is a right back. The minute that ball deflects up in the air into his path, we all know exactly what's going to happen. He has no other choice but to hit it on the volley. It's invitingly sitting up for him. And he trusts his technique. Slightly hits across it with the outside of the boot. You can see full concentration. Uses Diego Costa as almost as a shield away from the goalkeeper Sommer, and it just goes into that far post. A tough start for Switzerland, but eventually Spain do get the opening goal.
Now with Dani Carvajal a little doubtful with injury, Odriozola has moved up the pecking order from maybe somebody who was heading to Russia to get experience, tournament experience for future years. But he's proven that he can do it against the best. And as we mentioned at the start of the game, Switzerland are, at least in the ratings by FIFA, the 6th best team in the world at the moment. But a brilliantly taken goal.
He fits the profile, doesn't he, for a team that play in the way that Spain do, with the way that Dani Carvajal pushes forward. We've seen Odriozola do it for the last couple of seasons now for Real Sociedad. At times it's brought him to the attention of Real Madrid. There's been speculation that they're in the market to look to purchase him. what he is, a hard-working, fit, very fast, energetic fullback that really enjoys pushing forward, and shown there with his technique, he's got the skill required to play at this level as well.
Well, there's the possession statistics, 70-30 for Spain. And you had to do well to score against Switzerland. It was the first goal they've conceded in 422 minutes.
This is ideal preparation, isn't it, for their first game against Brazil? You imagine it will be a very similar game. So to play Spain in a friendly, preparing for the World Cup, when they play Brazil, this will be exactly how they play. This will be a good preparation for their game plan for the opening game.
Well, Spain, of course, their final preparation game is against Tunisia. And Lopetegui was saying in the build-up to the match what they want to do is get used to different approaches, different formations, as they head to the great global tournament. Well, know what to expect from Portugal in Group B. Maybe not so much Iran. We'll be aware of Morocco from just across the water as well. Lopetegui. Alba. Now PK. Okay. PK. Thiago. Iniesta. Silva. Fires it, Silva. Iniesta. Aspas fails with the layoff. Aspas. That's the second time he's gone down, and the referee has not been convinced on either occasion. Lichtsteiner. Shaqiri. Cleverly cut back. Oh, it's a decent cross as well. Shaqiri carving open the Spain defence there. It was Lichtsteiner, who has been linked with Arsenal. And then you look at his age and say he's 34 years of age, but that's only the birth certificate, because he has the legs of a 24-year-old, doesn't he?
Well, not only that, he's had his work cut out, hasn't he, defending against Jordi Alba and David Silva on that side, but he has been the biggest threat for Switzerland in terms of attacking play as well.
The fourth most capped Switzerland international ever. He's 5 off Chapuisat, so he should catch him up in the World Cup finals. And who knows, might be part of the Arsenal revolution.
You see him on the overlap there. Well timed pass from Shaqiri. Exactly the right type of delivery across the 6-yard box, and Gemelli, who was on the end of that earlier cross at the far post, wasn't in the same position this time. Partnership between Iniesta and Silva is key for Spain, isn't it? It's two world-class players, but they're on the same wavelength. So they each understand, even without looking at each other, talking to each other, communicating with each other. If one of them gets the ball, he's aware of where his teammate will be. They link up. It's beautiful to watch.
Well, they are so blessed with midfield players. Cesc Fabregas doesn't even make the squad, neither Illumendi, who was impressive in the qualifiers. And of course, sᴘᴜʟ, who was the standout player for Spain at the under-21 finals last year, is merely in reserve on the bench. You're going to get time, though. Iniesta isn't not a 90-minute man this season. He only went 90 minutes 3 times with Barcelona in La Liga. But that is the beauty of the Spain squad. They don't rely heavily on one single player. Everybody is replaceable, and there's a replacement in virtually every position. As we found out in the right-back role tonight with the eye-catching Odriozola.
We haven't seen him defend yet. That's the type of player he is. He's all action, all purpose, getting forward. Switzerland's best attacks have come down the side of Jordi Alba when he's pushed forward, and Spain are left a few players in the defensive half of the pitch.
Okay, draws breath, hangs it in the air. Silva, Koke, Thiago. What does Iniesta see? He sees two at the far post, but doesn't find them. Switzerland are having to defend to their absolute maximum here to withstand an onslaught from Spain. There's a foul this time on Ballon Berami.
This time it's Iniesta with the closing down, Berami going down, and appeared to be slightly irritated until he saw it was Iniesta who was pulling him up and apologising. He thought it was Diego Costa again, I believe.
Well, that's the respect that Iniesta has amongst his peers. Zakaria. Akanji to Rodriguez. Zuber giving them width, but that's him. Any opportunity for him to display his array of talent yet. Berami. Switzerland are the kind of country regularly qualify, always the underdogs. Well, they have been at 7 of the last 8 major tournaments. The only one they've missed out on to the Euros in 2012.
I think there's a programme put in place a long while ago now where they concentrated on producing really good young players, and they've had a successful period over the last decade or so in the younger tournaments.
Oh, there's a strong aftershock there. The referee hasn't shown the card yet, and they're trying to play in good spirit. The Liechtensteiner. Yeah, he did catch him, but I don't think it was intentional. It was certainly a foul. The apology was accepted by ꞵ
But the intent from Liechtenstein was to win the ball back quickly rather than run 80 yards back towards his own goal. So you can understand. He wanted to put his foot in and try and win the ball back. There's nothing nasty about the challenge, was there? And a bit of an edge to the game. That's going to be natural because Switzerland are chasing the ball about.
Thiago, Iniesta. Now Silva. Aspas, who switched wings with success, squeezes a corner out of Switzerland.
The two centre-backs, Kanji and Fabian Schär, really working hard, aren't they? They've got players attacking them from all angles. Aspas now swapping sides, going to the left side of attack. Got their hands full alone with Diego Costa.
Well, it's quite a storm inside the stadium now. 꽵 getting right under the goalkeeper's gloves. It's towards Costa. Well, he got the freedom between the two central defenders there. He'll be mulling over how he felt he may have finished it better.
Yeah, maybe the excuse is that he doesn't see it till late, as he thinks the PK might get there. He's almost going over the head of Gerard Piqué, over the head of Fabian Schär, and he's just nudged, isn't he, in his attempt when he got his full length with a diving header.
ᴰᴜ sees the gap and just goes for it. Nerves? I don't think he has any. Back to Iniesta. Simple save for Sommer.
Full concentration there from Iniesta on his left foot. He just needed to start it out wider, didn't he? And I think the goalkeeper guessed correctly.
9 shots to 2. We're into the final 4 minutes now of the first half. Rodriguez. Zuba. He's got nothing at all out of Koke on this right-hand side. Sal going through some limbering exercises. I think it'd be a lot closer to the strongest Switzerland 11. This would be the 11 if Granit Xhaka doesn't make it for the opening game, the way things are at the moment. Whereas, of course, Spain have the Real Madrid players to call on, and Busquets as well is missing through illness tonight. Comfortable keeping from De Gea. Sets Silva on his way.
Ḥsálem and Rodrigo there appeared as if they were two players getting ready to take part at the start of the second half, didn't they? They're starting their warm-up just before half-time. Understandable, of course, that both managers will make changes.
Aspas. Well, the two players who haven't caught the eye so far for Spain are the two that are jostling for the striker's position, Aspas and Costa. Is it a case of them both trying too hard?
Yeah, I think they're perhaps encroaching into each other's territory. Aspas there, I've known from watching him regularly in La Liga over the seasons that he's an edge to his game, doesn't he, despite being a friendly.
Iniesta to Silva. Thiago. Ḥsálem. Catch them if you can. Thiago squirms away. Fires it to the spare man, Jordi Alba. Alba across the face of goal. It hits the rear of Costa. Well, the experiment of Costa and Aspas together hasn't worked so far. One would imagine we're going to see that man in the second half, Rodrigo Moreno. 4 caps, 2 goals. They've all got good striking rates, though, all 3 of the central strikers for the national team.
Morata has a decent rate as well. Paco Alcácer had a spell where he was the first choice for the national team.
Oh, brilliant from Iniesta. Well, he weaved and left the defenders for dead. Unfortunately for Switzerland, Yann Sommer guarded his post.
He's playing in a really advanced position, isn't he? Another attempt on goal from Iniesta.
Koke. Jordi Alba. Ḥsálem. Oh, lovely layoff from Iniesta, who may have been blocked when he was trying to get there. Well, Piqué. Generally, that would be a yellow card. The referee being sensible. He does realise that there was no great intent from Gerard Piqué. He gives him a stern lecture. Look at that from Andres Iniesta. Well, underlines how dominant Spain have been in the first half.